Hey, 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 welcome to the Oil Runners broadcast. This is Kristen All Love coming at you pre-recorded at this moment. We are having Cross from Crossman Productions on them in shortly. But if you would like to be on the broadcast, Oil Runners Services at gmail.com. You can contact us on that. You can contact us on the Oil Runners broadcast on Facebook. Look us up on YouTube at Kristen All Love, all one word, 3574. TikTok is kristenall.love and Instagram, Kristen All Love. Okay, so we're going to find out what Parks is all about. All right.
Yeah, they,
Well, welcome in, Mr. Cross. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. How are you doing today?
Same here, relaxing. Got my energy drink. We're good.
Good.
I didn't. This is my coffee nowadays. Is that Celsius energy drink? I'm trying them out now.
You trying the energy drinks?
Yeah, those Celsiuses. Like I don't know. Okay, with that Zoom, whatever. The Celsiuses drinks. They seem to be a little bit better. With my bariatric surgery, everybody on the website said, "Oh, well, try these ones. They're good." All right,
Well,
like, we'll check it out.
well,
Number
yeah.
two was okay.
I do this drink every morning, which is pineapple with turmeric, ginger, a pinch of pepper, and maybe some orange juice to kind of sweeten it up. But that's supposed to be like really healthy.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
actually put like make an orange juice and then put the pineapple piece in there?
Yeah. Well, I get the actual pineapple juice. Like when you watch the recipe, they actually cut up the pineapple and the oranges and put,
Okay.
but I just get the juice. It's 100% juice. Save all the problem, with cutting everything up. Just pour it in. Put a teaspoon of turmeric, a teaspoon of ginger, and
Okay.
pepper. It's supposed to activate turmeric, like the healthy benefits of turmeric, and then a teaspoon of honey. Mix that together, and it's supposed to be like a extremely healthy drink for you, and it's like good for your digestive system, and then helps you lose weight.
Okay. Yeah. Because I like those waters and stuff like that, that where you put the cute those recipes, those cucumbers and
Yeah,
lemon go together, and stuff. Those are so good. Ugh, like I just been lazy. Like my body just hasn't been able enough to like cut up a pineapple. I'm just like, look, pizza rolls it is at this point. Like like even that, I was like, oh, like I'm not trying to be lazy, but my body's like, nope, we're not standing for 2 minutes.
well,
So it's like,
that's why you use the juice. Just go buy the juice itself and just pour it in a glass, and then like get a blender, mix it.
yeah,
You're
I
good.
have all that. That's
Yeah,
the thing. It's
yeah.
just the whole. I'm like, well, if it's 3 minutes or less, you might get me on something. I love
Right,
healthy stuff. I absolutely love it. I can't. I'm not gonna knock it at all.
right, right.
Um, but if somebody could do it for me at this point in my life, like I'm all for it. But yeah, no. But I might try that pineapple orange juice
Yeah,
ordeal. Maybe drink it once a week when I have that energy to do it, and then maybe
yeah.
would it be good to just like um put it in the fridge
Oh yeah,
and
yeah. I
then
do
use
that.
a little.
Yeah, yeah. I do the same thing. Sometimes I'll make enough for 2 or 3 days, and then
Mm,
keep it in the fridge and just grab it when I need it. Yeah,
okay. Okay. Yeah, I might do that once a week and just kind of roll off of that.
yeah. So anyway, it's healthy for you, and um it's really quick to make. So
Yeah. Okay. So I see you do podcasting. What's your
yes.
podcast about?
So what Crossman Production presents. So back in 2020, 2021, somewhere in there. I used to do television and radio back before it was popular. back when it was still internet radio, um, and the shows were public access television. You had to actually go to a building, get the equipment, and film. You know, it's not like
Okay.
we didn't have YouTube back then. So I kind of left it for a while, and then about 2021, during the pandemic and everything that was going on, um, every time I get on Facebook or social media, everybody was always just fighting. They're fighting over everything, race, politics. I mean, whatever it was, everybody just. So I wanted to create a show that showed we had more in common than we do that separates us. Something that inspires. So, um, I started Crossman Productions, presents, and then we just started grabbing at first just local people like the chief of police, judges, activists, just your average person. Kind of expanded. We started bringing in actors, musicians, athletes, directors, producers. I mean, name it. We've been there, and our show started growing outside of the U.S. We started doing interviews in Holland, the U.K., and Australia, and South Africa. I mean, we started getting guests from all over the world. So and that's basically what the show is. We have people come in and share their journey, and kind of talk about some of the things that they were able to overcome, and get some insights in different industries, and kind of inspire other people who are trying to get involved in those industries. Try to inspire them and encourage them to take a risk and fulfill your purpose. Everybody in life has a purpose in life. Sometimes you just need somebody to help guide you, to the right direction. So that's what we try to do for the show.
Okay, so we're on the same wavelength there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty cool. You've been doing it a lot longer than I have.
Yeah, we come December we start season 4. So we've been doing it for going on 4 years now.
Whether it's health or I know the Crossman Productions journey, but your personal, if you don't mind sharing anything.
Oh yeah, so back in 2000, about 2008, if you saw me back then, one, I was really overweight, and I was going through I was in kidney failure, and I had been in kidney failure for about a year. I didn't. The thing that sucks about our healthcare system is if you don't have insurance, nobody really cares to see you. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I knew I was sick. My legs were swollen. I couldn't walk. I was walking with a crutch, or canes. Couldn't stand. My legs were like they were swelling bad. But so I knew something was wrong. So I kept going to the doctor or to ER, and they kept telling me I had gout, and then they would send me home. This went on for about a year, and then one day I was in a car. I dropped off my wife to her job, and I was like, well, I was so weak. I was like, the hospital is a block away. Do I want to drive to the hospital and then reject me again, or should I just fall asleep in the car until she gets off work? So I was too wore out and too tired and sick to drive. So I was like, I'll sleep, think about sleeping in the car. But I ended up going up to the hospital. As soon as I get to the hospital, they saw the condition I was in, and they rushed me back immediately. And they told me that my kidneys had been shut down for a year, and they didn't know how I was still alive. They're like, your body's full of toxins, and if you don't go on dialysis tonight, you're gonna die. And if I would have fell asleep in a car, I'd be dead. I would never woke up, they tell me. So luckily I went to decided to go to the hospital. But yeah, then when on dialysis for about 2.5 years. And then during the time that I was on dialysis, I went back to school instead of just sitting there. I got my associate's degree in paralegal studies and my bachelor in criminal justice. And then, 2.5 years later, got a kidney transplant and, been doing good since. So,
That's
kidney,
awesome.
well, kidneys typically last 7 to 10 years. And I've had mine now for, let's see, 12, almost 13 years, somewhere around there. So it's been, and it started to decline now. So, but we're still in a window where I don't have to go on dialysis yet. But at some point, that's probably going to happen. I'll have to get another kidney transplant. But man, it's been lasting, last a good 13 years. So I'm good.
The you're frozen. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an amazing story, honestly. So what were your health how did you um how did you like what kind of recipes or did you go into like a major when you found out about all your kidneys, did you personally go look up your own stuff, be your own advocate and all that kind of stuff? Like really digging into everything or
Nah, I mean, they give you a specific diet that you got to be on. You can't eat anything that's got phosphorus in it. So, which everything has phosphorus. So, you have to limit what you can eat. Obviously, you have to limit what you can drink, because that's the whole point of dialysis is trying to get the fluids off your body. Your body, it's not getting rid of it the way it should be. So, but no, I went the sessions when you go to dialysis is every other day. And originally they started off 8 hours. So you sit in the chair for 8 hours on the dialysis. And then they have a way now to do it in 4, but they pull the fluids off faster. The
okay.
downside to that is if they pull up too much, you get dehydrated and and then they have to put stuff back on. But you get the leg cramps and all that. That's no fun. But so I started doing the 4. But my big thing is I didn't want to sit there and just waste the time because I didn't know how long I was going to be on dialysis. I didn't want to waste the time. So I decided to go back to school and do my schooling during the times of my dialysis. So turned out, I ended up getting 2 degrees while I was waiting. So
Right. I get it. I'm in that position now.
yeah.
Like, well,
So
yeah, why waste it? Like,
yeah.
8 hours. 8 hours, that's a whole full-time job right there.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. So, and I wanted to, the funny thing is when I went into dialysis, working a job, I'd been working forever. I was making like, I don't know, $15 an hour, something like that. After I got my degrees, I came back. I had to wait a year before they let me go back to work. But my first job back, I was making 30 an hour. So, with my degrees.
oh, that's worth it
Yeah.
then.
So like, okay. Well, actually, when they told me about the job, that they did the interview. They did the interview over the phone. They're like, okay, just show up to this, to the site. And I'm like, there's no way that they just did an interview on this on the phone for $30 an hour. And I'm gonna, and I'm gonna go to the site. It's gonna be a legit job. So I tell my wife, hey, look, I'm gonna go to this thing. I'll probably be home in an hour because it's probably a scam. Who's paying $30?
Right.
Never saw, did a face to face. And I get there, it's like a real job. Ends up being a real
Well,
job. So I'm like, shoot, man, $30 an hour is good. So, I try to do the job the best I can. And then the project that we were on was over, and it was for a bank. And then the bank did a second part to that project, and they had it written that I had to be the manager of the second part of that project. And then they offered me 50 an hour. So that was a good
That's
deal.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a no excuse mindset on that
Yeah.
end, you
Right.
know. Going through the medical stuff in itself is so much time and energy consuming,
Right.
you know, and definitely going through school and having to deal with that while on medication, while on
Right.
like look, I'm not sure how I got through the class itself, you know, like and made an A through it. Like I slept,
Right.
you know, like hold up. That's a lot of, you know, so that is commendable, and a lot of people can be inspired by that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
So, I mean, the way I look at it is, life is what you make of it. Everybody gets, at some point you're gonna get dealt a bad hand. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
just, so how do you play your cards? You could, you know, get mad and sulk at the world and, be pissed off and whatever. Or you could just accept it and, and do the things you can do, and and just keep moving forward. That's the whole point. Grow from it, learn, grow.
exactly. You know, and it helps. It, you know, the schooling itself helps with the social interactions or
Right.
whatever, like keeping your, that's what I found was keeping your mind onto something different
Right.
while you're in pain. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and just staying educated. Your brain has to keep continuing to learn something and to keep going. There is times that we have to sit down and like, okay, I can't do this today.
Right.
You know, give ourselves that grace enough to be like, all right, we can't do it all, but
Right.
you know, time management and looking at how you're going to spend that energy, just even standing up. Before I stand up, I got to think of how I'm going to walk over. Am I going to waste that walk? You
Mm.
know, 2 or 3 steps on, you know, going to go get a candy bar or whatever it is, or I'm not going to waste that just standing up real quick. And then my mind's like, oh, I don't know what I'm standing up for. That's energy that you could have sat down and still like
Right.
thought about the next move. Like,
Right.
you know, like so it helps.
Yeah.
And yeah, because I go paralyzed and all kinds of good stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not wasting all that. Like something stupid, like, you know, and sitting down in front of the computer.
Right.
Like, okay, instead of I'm not going to cry about I can't do this, I can't go outside, you know, today because I hurt
Right.
while I'm in my chair. You
Right.
know, work on something different, pull my clothes together, you know, or whatever, bring that together here next to me, or I could be on the computer and do some other stuff of work, you know, still keep moving.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, in life. Like,
Yeah.
and and honestly, I think the broadcast probably is helping you, isn't it?
Oh
Like
yeah.
just
One of the things I really like about the broadcast, and bringing people in and hearing their stories is that, I know not only is it inspiring the people out there, but hearing other people's stories is inspiring to me too.
right.
And it also, I get a lot of encouragement from it. And then I am meeting some of the coolest people in the world. I mean, people that you wouldn't normally think you're going to sit down and talk to, to be able to sit down and hear their stories, and not only hear their stories, but we develop friendships. And there's people now that I could go text or give a call on the phone that and get advice from that who's been in the industry for a long time. You so yeah, I mean, it's just incredible the people that 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 you get to meet, and then hear their stories, and then develop those friendships. It's just, I have fun doing it every single time.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree. As much as I'm not about the internet, so I'm still from the old school. Older than Google, old
Right,
school, but came into Google.
right,
Like,
right,
you know, uh, but it does have its benefits to, like you said, to meet people, to help other people. Your own town may not support you, but you got people that you never thought you would meet, like you said, Africa and
right,
all that. Like, is at the touch of the button. Like, oh, well, shoot. Once we learn how to use the daggone program, like,
right,
it's all good. Like, it's all gravy from there.
right,
you know, it. Yeah, and the stories. And like I was going to church, and I loved hearing the testimonies that came out. That's what really inspired me. You know,
mm,
the testimonies, and I only got like 2 minutes, but I was like, you know what? People need to hear those stories. That's the meat right there.
right,
Like,
right,
you know, to see how God's working in somebody's life or whatever it is, and just to be happy for that person. Like, you got off of drugs? What? Like, come on.
right,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, man, we are kind of the same. You know what? And how did question is always how? How did you do this?
right,
Like, that's my question always, anywhere I go. Like, okay, so you said this. If I'm in a therapy office, I need a therapist that knows things, not just by the book.
right,
You know what I mean? To be able to, I've had different types of therapists. I fired a whole bunch of them because I don't want to hear, how did you feel about that? Well, I don't know. You tell me, man. Like, did you buy 5 million folders like that are like this thick? That's
right,
just a tip, and I'm only 21. Okay, so like I'm older than that, but that was back then. But
right,
but like, so I, like, you got inspired by the people, like your story, your kidney story, and it's like, oh, when I sit back, I'm like, oh man, like that's pretty cool. Like, okay, so he did this, like you say that drink, it could help somebody. You know
right,
what I mean? Nobody knows what you need. Like, we all need something. It could be the
right.
smallest thing. And you look up on Google and that'll come up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
That's how I found it too. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, and then one of the things too that I think that the younger generation missed out on, especially during the
Absolutely.
pandemic, is that um, whenever they started keeping us, 6 feet apart, you can't go talk to people. They separated everybody. I think that did more damage than anything. So I try to encourage people, put your phone down. When you're sitting at a table with somebody, at work, you know, put your phone down and actually get to know the people around you. And, by doing that, you learn a lot of stories and you learn a lot about the people around you. You know, is that you don't
Hmm.
have to go do a private podcast. You could just do that in everyday life, you
Yep.
know, as you come across different people, take the time and talk to them, get to know them, get to hear what their stories are. One of the girls that I worked with, I found out she was like, wow, 7 foot something. She was tall, tall girl, and her name was Artavia. And so I started talking to her, and I found out that before she started working with us at the bank, she was playing professional basketball overseas. You know,
Wow. Pretty cool.
so yeah, so you sit down, you get to actually uh, you know, talk to people and hear their stories. And she played in like 3 different countries, and so she told me the stories about her going out to those countries, and yeah,
Right. Yeah. I mean, okay, so COVID for me, I like the introvert stuff.
right,
Like, it was kind of nice for that portion. But yeah, I agree with that. And instead of, I know this sounds like a contradictory thing because we're on the computer now, but like you
right,
said, put the phone down, But
Right.
like I was, imagining, when you study with people, you have your laptop up, yeah, like the whole screen. So you're like all at the same table and your laptop's up with your notebook. But what the laptop is doing is telling everybody, oh, don't talk to me. Like it's blocking that view. So taking that laptop down and then having your notebook there, it's an open space to be able to
Right.
talk and really, really get through. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh yeah, the kids really did miss out on that and the socialization and how to socialize properly
Right.
in society. We take away the race, we take away the all that, and learn how to deal with the media properly, whatever it is, and decipher whether it's false or not, and how to learn how if it's the edited, whatever, and to really look at different things and do your own research and then have a intellectual conversation.
Right. Exactly. And you know
you
what? Here's
know,
the other thing. Here's the other thing about that too is it's okay to disagree.
right. Like,
You know, it's perfectly okay that we can be friends and not agree on every single thing.
exactly. Yeah. And respect each other's opinions or
Right.
bias or whatever it is. We might see it in a different light, but we can teach each other, like just being able to be open, especially in relationships. It's the
Right.
same thing in that. Being able to sit down and talk. You don't have to argue. I don't see a point
Right.
in arguing. I really don't. If you can sit in a meeting without arguing, then at home you could sit the same way. Just
Right.
say it. It is not an obligation to sit there and fight. Like, you
Right.
know, but you could sit at a table and be like, okay, so here's the problem. Like, you know, and do it in a different light and be like, I see it this way. Not sure how you see it, but
Right.
I'm open to seeing it your way too. And maybe we can see something in the middle or whatever it is. If we have to take a 5 minute break, we'll take a 5 minute break and then we'll think about it. You
Right.
know what I mean? I mean, I may be wrong on that end, but I really don't
Right.
see why we have to argue.
Right.
If you can do it at work in a boardroom without arguing, it might come out in an argument, but doing that in a respectful kind of way, getting
Right.
ideas going on, and then having a productive company, then
Right.
why can't you do that in your marriage?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and the society has gotten away from all that, like, or
Right.
they don't want to see that, or they like looking at all those facts, like society tells you you got to fight. That's like the normal thing in a marriage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they take that and then they tell other people it's okay to fight. No, it's not. No. And then you got the argument going on there. Like, no,
Right.
it's like, really? So it's like, really? Are you kidding me? I was like, oh my gosh, so that little stuff.
Yeah. And this whole thing of canceling everybody, that don't believe the same you, that's ridiculous. I mean, you know, at no point are you gonna wake up and everybody who you disagree is gonna be off the planet. You know what I mean? So you're gonna have to learn to live with people, that have different opinions from you. And the other thing is don't get so caught up in yourself, you know, that your everything that you do, every relationship you have is affected by whether or not people agree with everything and affirm everything you're doing. Yeah. Because not everybody's gonna agree with you. Yeah.
Oh, I heard none of that. You were
Uh,
frozen.
yeah, I was like, it's like she froze up too. So yeah, I'm saying that every people are so wrapped up in themselves, you
Yep.
know, that all their relationships, everything is based on everybody affirming them. Affirm me. And tell me, agree with everything I say. Life doesn't work that way. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Life doesn't work that. You're going to go out there, you're going to meet 10 people, and all 10 people are going to have their own opinions. Yeah. And you can't cancel everybody.
Right.
If you cancel everybody who doesn't have the same opinion as you, you're going to be a lonely person because you're going to be the only person. So,
Right.
in that relationship. So, I don't know. I don't understand I think with this generation, it starts off with communication, that they've not learned properly how to communicate with one another. And then secondly, I don't think it froze again.
Properly communicate.
Yeah, so they don't communicate properly.
Yeah.
And then, and then they want to cancel everybody who doesn't believe the same they believe. So just, I don't know.
Yeah. And our
We live in a
education.
different generation.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm like, I don't even know anymore. I'm just like, listen, I'm not afraid to speak, but everything, like you said, like we speak on, like, oh, they canceled this word. What? No, like,
Yeah.
and they canceled this word and they canceled this color or whatever. I'm like, huh? What are we supposed to say then? Well, I'm not speaking stupid now. Like, no, like,
Yeah.
no.
You
Um,
know, I've learned that through this whole cancel culture or whatever, I'm just gonna say, I don't play the cancel culture game. You know what I mean? So
right.
when they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, if you do this or you say this or whatever, we're gonna cancel you." Well, if that's what you feel like you got to do to cancel me, you know what I mean? Do it.
Right.
But it's not. I'm not gonna lower my IQ and my beliefs and my morals and my values to
Right.
appease somebody, you know, who might get triggered or offended by something I say.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you got to cancel me. But you know what? It doesn't stop me from being, being who I am and doing the things I do. Yeah, that that whole thing doesn't scare me.
Exactly. Yeah, they're messing with the wrong generation.
Yeah,
I think they all came out and like Gen X and the boomers like, wait, what did y'all say? No,
yeah,
and yeah, well, we're just gonna let them go ahead and do what they gotta say.
yeah. So yeah, and I've been called, some horrible things in my life. So there's nothing that somebody could call me that I haven't been called. I grew up in Chicago. You know what I mean? So I mean, I've heard it all.
Yep, man. Yeah, these I don't know anymore. In the woods is where I'm going. That's for sure. At least the bears understand life and the moose and all of them. They're like, okay, if I want to swipe you, I'll swipe you. They'll tell you exactly how they feel. They're not
Right,
gonna, be all beating around. I hate the beat around the bush stuff.
right,
Just point. I mean, you don't even have for me, I always get jacked up by people like because I'm like, you don't even have to say hello. Okay.
right,
Just in your text or message or whatever. I mean, you can, that's you, but
right,
me, don't expect me to like say hello back and then you say nothing, right? Because I know that's what people do, right?
right,
So I'm like, just okay, just give me what exactly that you want, right? Short little paragraph or
right,
whatever. So I can just either if you say hello or not, you don't even have to. It's not, it doesn't bother me whatsoever that it's rude or whatever.
right.
Just give me a chance to read it real quick, bullet point. Like, and then give me, if I want to answer it, I can answer it. Like, what's the problem with that? Like, but and then just tell me bullet points. You don't
Right,
have to tell me 10 stories just to get to like you lost me at like the first story just to get to the point. I'm like, oh, that's what the point was. All you had to do was say just a simple line. That was it.
right.
Like, just bullet points. I'll figure the rest out later. But like,
Well,
but people hate that. I'm like, but why? I mean, even in the dating world, just get to the point. Like, put your cards out there. I don't have
right,
time to when I'm too old for this. Yes, it is nice to sit at a restaurant and talk about your, and your goals and stuff like that. But like, here's the
right,
cards. I'm mentally ill, whatever. Here's the pro. Do you want to deal with it or do you not? Give me your bullet point, your cards. Do I
right,
want to deal with it? Give me that chance. We don't waste 3 months trying to figure that out and you come out with some mental health issue that I had no clue. That was just a waste of 3 months for me. Like,
right,
we'll deal with it the day after if I choose to go with it. Not
right.
I mean, am I wrong? Or I don't have, I don't care, but that's how I feel about it.
Right.
This, bullet point. Give me the daggone cards. Like, put them all on the table. We'll figure that out. Bam.
Right.
Simple.
Mhm.
Oh, I don't want to fall for all of that. But like,
Well,
better things to do than sit there and waste 3 months of our time.
it froze up again. Okay.
Welcome back. Like, like,
In the middle of talking, like it freezes up on like your picture. I freeze up. I guess I did the same on your. Then it looks like we're freezing up, but
oh yeah, you're frozen on my end sometimes, or during those times. I'm okay on my end.
yeah, that's how it is on my end. My end, I can see my stuff moving or whatever, but like you're frozen up, So I don't know.
But yeah. So I seen on your page that you had on your podcast you have the fights and stuff like that you host those kind of things too.
Oh yeah,
What's that about?
I've started talking to some of the guys from Power Slap, and Power Slap is a new sport. It's only been around about 2 years. That's ran by Dana White, who runs the UFC.
Mhm.
So it's basically you have two full-grown men or women now. We have women slap fighters that would get out there and just slap each other. That's it. They you know take turns
And that's the
slapping each
stuff we
other.
see on the TV, the
Yeah,
commercial, whatever that hardcore slap deal.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
It's so it was funny because one of the actors and he's an editor that I follow. I saw that he was friends with one of these guys. So I'm like, let me see what this is. So I kind of started looking on TikTok and following it, and then I became friends with Ron Beta, Wolverine, which is he's the OG of Power Slap. He was with Power Slap before Dana White bought Power Slap. It used to be Slap Fight, or there was another uh, company doing it, and then Dana White bought the company, and like it's blown up in the last 2 years. But anyways, so I had Wolverine on the show. He's been on the show, I don't know, maybe 5, 6 times. Um, you know, what we do now is they have major events. So they're at Power Slap 9 that happens tomorrow. So Wolverine and I'll get together and we'll go through the card and pick who we think is going to win each fight. And then, which is kind of unfair because Wolverine he knows those people. Yeah, I mean, and most of
right.
them he's probably actually gone against. So we'll go through the cards and he'll be like, don't underestimate this person because this guy's tell me about him. But anyway, so we're doing that tonight. We're doing our predictions for Power Slap 9, which happens. Power Slap 9 happens tomorrow on Rumble.
Okay.
So yeah, if you get a chance to go check that out, definitely go check it out. If you guys have never watched a Power Slap match, definitely go check this out. It's crazy the things you guys have done. And then another friend of mine, his name's Harmony. Harmony is a award-winning recording artist. He's done a bunch of soundtracks for films and acting, and he's a Christian rapper. So he's going to join us too. So and I've known Harmony forever. He's like a brother to me. So it's going to be fun to have him. He's never, as far as I know, he's never like watched the Power Slap. So he's going to help. He's going to jump in and do predictions with us. So that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds actually quite interesting.
Yeah. So and it's funny because I've met several of the guys from this Power Slap. had them on the show. And by having them on the show, we're becoming not intentionally, but we're becoming like a source for Power Slap. So a lot of the guys from Power Slap, end up tuning into the show because they know they're going to see, some of their buddies going to, be on the show, and they hear us talk about them in their, in the sport and watching this thing grow. We're starting to become I guess a source for Power Slap, which is pretty cool, I guess.
Oh yeah, almost like that WWE. They get on each other,
Yeah,
like, and probably get on the show and be like talking about the other one. Like, hold
right.
up, wait a minute. Like, you
So
gotta come
yeah,
back for that
we
one.
have a lot of fun with it. And these guys are, I mean, the guys that's been on the show is they're awesome. It's just down to earth guys. I mean, they just do this crazy sport. Like Wolverine, Ron Beta, nicest guy you ever meet. On when he's doing a match, he's a beast. But on the show, he's yes sir, no sir, just just the down to earth, polite, I mean, just coolest guy you ever meet. But and it's like a lot of them are that way. I just had Vern Cathy, who's probably one of the oldest guys in Power Slap, that was on, and he knocked out one of the guys I can't stand on the show, so I had to have him on the show.
So thank you.
So yeah. So anyways, tune in, and definitely you guys want to watch the Power Slap tomorrow, Power Slap 9 on Rumble.
Okay. Okay. How
That's my selfish plug.
and that's on your podcast show?
Yeah, so we're doing ours tonight, our predictions. And then, every week we have typically Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday I do shows. So you never know who's going to be on. It's going to be, we have actors, we have, musicians, athletes, activists, just people with incredible stories come on every week. I get to sit down and talk to them. So
Okay. Yeah. And it's Crossman Productions on YouTube, right? Or is that a different name on YouTube?
it's Crossman Productions. You'll see the logo right here. And then so I simultaneously film live on Facebook and YouTube. So if you
Okay.
follow me on Facebook and YouTube, I typically will send something out, let you know when the next show is going to be. So it gives you kind of a heads up. And of course, if you subscribe, you'll know because it'll tell you as soon as I'm on. But yeah, if you guys ever get a chance, man, come join us. We have a lot of fun. And and I used to do it pre-recorded. I used to pre-record the shows, but I started doing so many shows that trying to get everything edited and sent out, it was becoming like the content was getting old. Things were happening before I could get the show out. So I'm like, you know what? The heck with it. I'm just going to start doing them live. And and we run into our hiccups. We run into the stuff where things freeze or sometimes you get kicked out or whatever. It's just the technology. But our audience is so faithful. They know if there's a glitch, they'll wade through it with us, because they show so much. So so we started just doing them live, and we get them out a little bit faster. The other reason I started doing them live is because my audience gets to chime in, and sometimes they'll jump in with questions and that they want to ask the guest, or comments that they want to make. So that's the other reason I started doing live.
Okay. Do you use Zoom for that?
I use StreamYard.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I dealt with StreamYard before. Yeah. Okay. Have you ever done it on the Zoom with the live?
No, I started. There was a different program that I started that was made for podcast. I can't remember the program. It wasn't working very well. And then they came out with StreamYard, so I started using StreamYard, and I've been pretty happy with StreamYard. I mean, it's really quick to go in, and then you can simultaneously do the show live on different platforms. So you can do
Right.
the show live on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and TikTok all at the same time. So you're reaching multiple platforms.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
now StreamYard, you're gonna have to pay me for that because I just did a promo for you. So
Yeah, I remember that, I was like, oh boy. But yeah, I was thinking about going live with the Zoom to see how that was gonna go.
right,
Um, but I've never so I can't see on the other side how it looks or all that stuff. So I'm like, we'll pre-record for now. And
yeah,
because I did like the StreamYard, but for some it's doing now with the Zoom. Well, now you're good.
right,
But yeah, so I like the StreamYard because I like how the chime ins and all that stuff,
yeah,
and you can read off and put your little borders and logos and all that kind of stuff on it. I was like, well, this is cool. Like,
right.
and then yeah, and then your headings and all right. Like I liked
Well,
it.
the other thing that's cool about it too. I mean, you probably could do it on Zoom. I've never tried it, but you could also add video. So, like, if we're talking and I want to add a picture or show a video off of YouTube, I can just incorporate that into what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, because for some odd reason, everybody else can do the background on this background is from the Zoom,
Right.
but it is Alaska, so it works. I want my personal pictures up there, you know what I mean? But it doesn't.
Right.
Everybody else has that little plus sign where you could add your background logos. Me, I have none of that. I have
Yeah.
whatever Zoom, and I was like, I paid for it. What are you talking
Right.
about? You know?
I wonder why
So I
Zoom
gotta figure it out.
wants to do that. I mean,
I don't know what to do about that. I looked everywhere in the settings, everything, and changed all of that, and it did not have anything. It's so weird.
well,
Like I said, how did I? And then you know how when you do the Zoom portion, where you're putting in the title of okay, so it used to say Zoom broadcast, and I was never able to get that off.
hmm,
So and to put the personal name and what it is for the title, and
right.
then but I said this will work for now until I can figure something else out. So y'all gonna have to deal with this right now. But like, but yeah, eventually, maybe if I get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, I'll go live. You know
Well,
what? Yeah. Once 1,000 subscribers go on YouTube, I'll go live. How
so
about
make sure
that?
you hit that subscribe button. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's somewhere on there. It'll be on there somewhere. Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna 1,000 subscribers and plus. We'll start the live. But other than that, y'all are getting pre-recorded. Let's just put it that way. I'll stick with the editing and simple tasks. You know.
What program do you use for editing?
Mm, right now, I'm just sticking with well, my computer it has a clip champ,
Okay.
and then once I get another computer that has more space on it,
Right.
I'll use because I signed up for that. I think it's called Black Magic or something or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
I've
a
heard that.
program out there. It's really nice. It's just is that what you have?
Yeah.
Um,
I use Final Cut Pro.
oh,
Yeah. Final Cut Pro is really good for like if you're gonna edit. Uh
yeah.
but that's also for like videos and like film and there's so much to learn with Final Cut, but that's something I've been using forever for editing. But and now they have it to where you can get it online. Used to you have to buy the program and download the program onto your system, but now it's web based, so you can just log in and use it. But
Oh,
you
that's
gotta pay like a monthly fee for it. You know what I mean?
yeah. Is it reasonable?
Yeah, it's reasonable. I mean, for all the stuff that you're able to do with it, I mean, and it's easy to use.
Okay.
So, but I stopped using it because everything's live, so I don't have to, I
Okay.
did kind of save money too. I have to have,
Right.
another paying $50 for or whatever. Yeah. Oh,
You ended up frozen again.
yeah. So yeah, so it's just another thing that kind of save a little bit of money too. I mean, when I do the live, so
Yeah.
yeah,
You know what? That gives me an idea. Okay. Since I do simple, right?
right,
So right now I'm just putting the we call it the cover photo, when you see it on online on YouTube. So I'm
right,
just doing that. And I like to keep whatever the video is as the regular video as it is. Like
right,
no cuts, even if it had those like skimpy parts or whatever that froze up.
right,
Because I like the fact that somebody can go back and find it
right,
and get the facts. Like, oh,
right,
instead of thinking, oh, somebody cut it or whatever, and then I'll go in and do a little, but at least having that.
right,
So the idea is the more subscribers, I'll go put it more into the editing. I'll add something else, like another like title page or something. I don't know, something.
right, right.
You'll get more in the video.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
yeah,
when I did the editing, I would add a bunch of pictures and clips and stuff in the video.
yeah.
I need to clean up all the mishaps, like the things that are frozen. You could get rid of all that, and make the video move smoother. But it's just it's so time consuming.
Oh yeah.
Do
Especially when you have to sit there in that little itty bitty line that
Yeah,
you can't click on. And he's like, just have to move a hairline over, but
yeah,
no, you can't even capture it. Nothing. And then it goes
yeah.
over this way, a whole left. Like that's 10 hours, later. I was like, I don't have time for this. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm just
And
gonna
that's the
slap
thing is
picture.
if you're doing a good edit, you're looking at least a full day of editing.
Yeah.
You
Or
know,
two, depending
yeah,
on your brain.
yeah. So I mean, it's just people don't realize how actually time consuming that editing
Yeah.
show is like that. So I was gonna tell you too, with the clips and stuff. One of the things I use for my promos is CapCut.
Yeah,
Um,
I like that. Yeah.
So, I mean, those are you just throw in pictures and pick whatever special effects or whatever, and I love doing those. I always send those out as my promos. So, but that's an easy way to to do things.
Yeah.
For anybody out there that's is interested, that's a great program to use. And it's
Oh
free.
yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah, I do like the cap cut. It does. That's how I did your the Garfield.
yeah.
That's where
So
I got that from. I said, this is cute. Let me see if this works. Like,
right.
didn't even see the ending of it, but I was like, oh, it worked. Okay. Subs will go live. But yeah,
But now they get to learn the tricks of the trade. So
yep. Yeah. And and that's how I've been doing it. Because when I first started here of doing anything, because when COVID started,
right.
let's see, well, technically it all started when COVID started and church was off or getting online, right? So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm not a big person to show my face,
Mm,
like at all. Like
right.
I
Right.
like to listen, and because I have the ADHD and and all that stuff. So I'm like, I'd rather I'll do my dishes and I can hear you clearly. You know what I mean? I'll receive
Right.
it better than sitting there physically because I'm just like this. My face is like,
Right.
kind of stuff, or I fall asleep or something. I don't know what'll happen. You never know. Like, but people don't need to see that. So, I was going through. I was like, okay. So then I heard in the spirit, to start a podcast. I'm like, a what? And I have no clue. I'm like, I'm just learning photography. What do you think I'm about to do? I don't even go on Zoom for church. What do you
Well,
think I'm going to do? Is going on? So I've been learning off of people throughout these years,
right,
and so like little things, I'm like, oh, okay. So when I get the chance to really, when I'm ready, when the light bulb really comes on, I have video to back up. Okay, I can go through that. That's how they said it. All right.
right,
Like little tips on
right,
different things I've
right.
learned. And it's kind of nice. Like with my videos, I want to do, I'm in journalist, so I want to, um, do something here in Alaska, which is make a movie about the natives, the true, get their real stories, and put something great together. But I'm like, I have no clue technically. Now I know about editing a little bit, so little different things, or even putting a storyline together or whatever. So this happening with meeting directors
Right.
and you know what I mean, in different things. I didn't expect it. I was trying to be offline just to do my surgeries for like at least another year. You,
Right.
and I was like, well, this goes right into what I need to, so learning from the ones who did the movies and made it
Right.
successful. Oh, that's how that happens. Okay. Now I feel a little bit more comfortable and and I can
Right.
go and maybe ask them, hey, is this okay looking or whatever? They've been in the kind of thing. And I like it. So
Right.
this is kind of cool. Like,
Well, it's the other thing too that I talk a lot about on my show is since the pandemic, there's so many tools out there to make things easier. Doing the podcast like we do, doing filming. There's so many. It's opened up so many opportunities and so many tools that when I first started, we had the big camera and we had to go out and film. And do
right.
things. Now, I mean, you have everything. I mean, you could film on a phone now.
Yep. Cap cut.
Literally. Yeah.
5 minutes. Thank you.
And so, and I don't recommend going making a movie off a phone, but I'm just saying the technology is there,
Right.
but you got GoPros, you got all kinds of, different cameras and stuff that you could use now to go actually film. So really good cameras that we didn't have back then. Um, and then, getting to sit down with these different, directors and actors and producers and, you know, um, and hearing how they do things and getting advice from them. One of the shows that I promote a lot is a show called Vindication. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a faith-based show. So
Okay.
I highly recommend going watching this show. Actually, they just wrapped up season 4, and I've interviewed most of the people, the cast from this group, from this show.
Okay.
And I talked to the producer, and I kept telling him, "Hey, Jared, I want to do a guest appearance on the show. I want to do a guest appearance."
That'd
And
be cool.
so, season four, episode 6, that's about to come out. I got to do it. I got to be on the show. So,
That's what's up. Do
yeah,
you
that
ever think
was
you would
that
be
was a lot of
one of
fun.
those people?
Yeah.
Like, it
So,
used to be so hard to do all that, like
right.
back in our day. Like now it's just like, hey, like, okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I highly recommend going and seeing Vindication. It's on Cheerflix, and I'm trying to think. If you just search your television for Vindication, you'll see it.
Okay.
And there's a lot of great actors on that. And I'm actually um, in the process of creating my own television series called Redemption. Originally, I was taking one of the characters from Vindication, who ends up going to jail, and you'll have to look at that. You'll watch it. But I was going to take that and create a story for this guy. But then we decided to do the show separate from Vindication. So it's a show called Redemption. So I'm in the process of writing the first season. I'm on episode 6. 13, there's 13 episodes in the season, so I'm on episode 6 about halfway through. But we already have our cast laid out. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And then one of the producers from Vindication, I'm trying to get her to pick it up, her and her company to pick up the show. They're tied with Warner Brothers. They have a deal with Warner Brothers, and they distribute on Netflix and Amazon Prime. So if we get picked up, our show will be on one of those. I'd like to be on Netflix, but yeah.
Oh, see, we got to watch that then. I can't wait for that to come out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I got a lot of great people who's wanting to be in the film itself. So, and that's the other thing too about having a podcast and reaching out to people, all over the world, is that helps grow my audience. So when I do something like that, we could distribute it beyond just the United States. So.
Right. And I mean, see, look how God works right there.
Right.
Like, sitting in there in the kidney situation, like never thought that
Right.
would, like, yeah, like shoot, yeah, that's, I mean, honestly, yeah, look how God works. It's amazing what he can do
Yep.
if you allow him to do it. Like, and just put your stuff away and like, okay, I give up, do what you do. Like,
Right. So,
and
yeah, I'm hoping that's the next chapter. That can actually start going full time. Once this is up and running, and I can just write full time for the show, and actually do a television show on either Amazon Prime or Netflix. That'd be awesome if that's the next phase that God has for me. So
yeah, anything's possible.
yep. So I'm excited about it. So yeah, I'm excited about it. So
yeah, I mean, utilizing your testimonies. That's why we go through. We're not going through for us.
right.
We're going through for somebody else to be helped, to hear the story, whatever it is, and that's what keeps me going. I don't know what keeps everybody else going, but
Right.
I keep hearing that I'm not going through this for me.
Right.
I used to be so mad. I was like, what the heck did I do to you? I just met you. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, I just got baptized. What are you talking about? Like, I got all these mental issues and all that, like extra, and
Right.
yeah, I get told, oh yeah, it's not going through for you. It's going, you're going to understand your kids. I'm like, wait, what? Like, in the people and all that. I mean, have you ever had that kind of a conversation with him? Like, just kind of while you're going through?
Yeah, I think that anytime you're going through something, you're always going to question, when you're going through it. But I guess the older you get and the wiser you become, that you start understanding that things that you go through, not only are you learning from it and how to respond to different things, but when you come out the other end, like I said, it's a testimony, and it's a way to inspire other people that you run into who are going through the same thing. Say, hey, I've been there, and this is how I did. How I was able to handle that. Now everybody's different, obviously, but but it's encouraging. It's encouraging, and you can still inspire other people who are going through it. Then they can at least look and say, hey, if he could do it, I could do it. You know, somebody else has been through it.
Yeah, you're
So,
frozen again. But
I was saying that, you know, the thing is that they could say, if that guy could go through it, I could go through it. You know, if he can make it through, I can do it. You know, so it's to encourage and inspire other people. You know, so whatever you're going through, you know, just know at the end of that journey, I look at things like this. Life is just phases. Every, you know, it's a chapter in your book. Every chapter is a phase of your book. You know, you're going to go through this certain phase, and then when you've learned the lesson you need to learn in that phase, you go to the next, you know, chapter of your life. You learn what you got to learn in that chapter, and you go to the next chapter. You know,
yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's something I learned, the phase, the season,
right,
and you can't take whatever the season you were in, you can't take those same tools and put them in the next season because that's not what you're gonna need,
right,
you know. And handling your trauma, that's something, you know, I had to learn too. You get rid of your trauma, you got to work on it, go through the therapist, but you got to find the right ones where he's going to send you to.
right,
Like you're going to create your own storm and expect God to clean it up, or you're going to let him create the storm and bring your house over nice and neatly. It might suck,
right,
you know, going through the whirlwind, but
right,
he has everything planned and he'll put you right where he needs you. Like you could
right,
be in a whole different state. Like, oh snap. All right. Like you're
right. Yeah,
you know, it's like, all right, well, how are we gonna do this now? Like, what's the deal here? Like, how are we gonna live? And that's something because I thought I was doing good, you know, got off of the Social Security for a minute because I was learning how to balance a checkbook and all that, you know what I mean? And
right,
it's like, you know what, I could try a job. I know I'm not perfect, but let me
right,
try getting a job because we're supposed to improve, right?
right.
And then I ended up at the hospital. Well, they wanted, that's how God worked. They wanted me when I came to Alaska. Like God had told me go back to Alaska. Why? No, that's that trauma. I love Alaska, but that was, you know, trauma I don't want to go back to, right?
Right,
So
right,
I said, okay. And so he made the plane ticket, $250, right? And then he already had a job lined up for me. He already had a home lined up for like everything. I came here with negative $850. Like,
well,
and like within, you know, it was just amazing how he worked. But so I didn't choose to come here. He made, you know,
right,
I followed directions. And so this was a storm I didn't know I was getting into, but I knew that he was going to take care of.
right,
So you know it's his direction if he already has things taken care of. You know what I
right,
mean? If you put the, he's not, you know, he's gonna go fail if, but anyway, the hospital technically got my mental health from. I was in the other side of the bed, you know, suicidal, the whole nine. I'm sorry, unalivable or whatever. Like I don't want to get canceled. Like, but, um, but I was the queen of all that. You know what I mean? Like I tried everything, and I literally asked him, "What do you want? Why do you keeping me on this earth?" Like,
right.
Dad, like so. So me, I was like, okay, fine. I went to go apply for the slopes. That didn't quite work out because he already had a different plan. And the hospital decided they wanted to hire me.
Okay. Well,
Throughout all those years, you know, where they say mental patients can't be in a place where if you got to be recovered technically for at least
well,
a good year and kind of stable
right,
in order to work in like certain places or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of different. You know, whatever. But the doctor's like, we, you know, it was not stay alive, we need you. Like literally, as I'm signing papers, I'm like, do you all know that I'm crazy, right? Like you do know who you're talking to, that you know, you telling me we as doctors need you, like
right,
your help. Uh what are you seeing that I'm not? Right. I'm like way down
right,
in the dumps, right? So made sense with the hospital hiring me this
right.
time. So the mental health doctor, my therapist, that said I shouldn't have had kids and all that extra. Guess who was a coworker? I was like, see, many years later. So he works, in
Right,
mysterious ways. And that was, to me, was a turnover for, my mental health journey. I'm still in it, but I was like, oh, okay.
right.
But it's all, yeah, like you said, it's all about how we see it. It's a different season, new tools, new things. The broadcast came up, like all of that. And then of course, I thought I was a big girl getting good money,
Mhm.
like,
Right.
off the Social Security and in a career, not just a job. It was a career. I love
Yeah.
it, bringing the love into the patients. I'm all about helping the people and doing something I actually like. And next thing I know, boom, you're getting surgery. Say what now? I'm like in workman's comp. I was like, hold up, wait a minute. But he told me about the broadcast
Right.
right before that. And I was like, uh-huh, okay. I put it on my calendar. And he's like, you need to, do this, and that. Okay, I put it on the calendar and kept working. That's my mentality, right?
Right.
And he was like, no, I'm gonna slow you down and cut your hand off, man. Like
Uh,
that was the first surgery. That's how it all started with the hand, workman's comp. I was like, I don't want workman's comp. Come on, man.
right.
So yeah, and then like, anything else wrong with you? Well, I fall like, and and I was like, are you sure and then I ended up with, now I'm going on to surgery number 7.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like in the 4
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
So like throughout this time, I kept on hearing, you're not going through, for you,
Right.
going through for other people. And that's why the broadcast was coming up. That's where it came through,
Right.
learned about my historical piece that I needed. Like he sat me down,
Right.
and I ended up thinking about the medical, every piece of surgery.
Mm.
What he was saying, he needed to clean me out, right?
Right.
Before that was the, haha, yep, okay, put it on a calendar.
Right. Right.
so, so every surgery, from the hysterectomy that was cleaning out my past, of different things, and like the hand surgeries and all that stuff, like my neck, all of that. He cleaned me out and changed it. So
Mm.
I would not go into a surgery unready in the spirit.
Right.
If I just have surgery and I come out and I'm not ready in the spirit to really take on that new life, then what's the point of the surgery, right? So it just made no sense. So that's how I started looking at it, the new
Mm.
seasons, and
Right.
learning. Okay, so I am the mess in the mess. There's a message in the mess. Mess in the message. We're gonna get that out and find people that got the same thing. Like
Right.
I call it a Christmas lights. So he took care of. So working on the food. He's taking care of all of that.
Wow.
So we can't blame God on when he takes us into something, right?
Right.
Like that's how I feel about
Yeah.
it.
And sometimes people don't realize this. Sometimes God does stuff like this to give you a reset. You know what I mean?
That's the word. That's exactly the word we're in right now, is a reset.
Yep. It's a reset. So, because we get so caught up in doing things our own way, and sometimes God has to stop us and slow us down. And sometimes, it's got to be something major that stops you.
Yep.
Like going, when I went to kidney failure, that put me out for 3.5 years. But it gave me a chance to reset and reevaluate, my life and way things are going. And you could use that reset and you could get bitter about it. You could be, because you had a job and your things were going great, and you could be like, oh, why did everybody, why did he do this to me? Why me? Why me? Why me? And so you could get bitter about it, or you could stop and think, what does he want me? What does he want me to learn during this time frame? What is
Yep.
it that he's teaching me? Well, stop and think, reset, and then eventually they'll be into it. They'll be into it, and you'll get to your next phase. And the thing that I always look for during a reset, we'll call it reset, yeah, things I look for is what things is God trying to teach me? What is it I'm supposed to learn during this time?
Yep.
Who am I supposed to meet? during this time, because there's sometimes that God puts people in your life to help you get to the next phase. And sometimes we overlook that because we're doing our own thing. So we don't look for, those people. And then, what am I supposed to do after this? Where does he want me to go after this? So I kind of look at, different, aspects, and see if it's, one of those, normally it's one of those three things, and when you realize that, it helps you move on quicker to the next stage. Most of the time, it's what am I supposed to learn from this? What
Yep.
is it that you're trying to teach? What are you trying to teach? Once you
And I'm not trying to do a roundabout, doing this 3 times over. Absolutely not. First time, and let's
yeah,
go.
right.
Yep.
So sometimes you're like, all right, Kat, I get it. Let's move on to the next phase now.
Yeah, there was one point where I actually said, once the light bulb came on, right? Because I think I went through something twice, right? And then he finally told me, okay, so you were supposed to have this in this month.
Right.
Oh, okay. So let's retry that. Can you send the test over again? Can I
Right.
do this test? Like, that's literally my conversation. Can I please? Now I know.
Right.
And I was like, and can you? I was like, I want to be in the promised land. I don't want to be like Moses and be an idiot.
Right.
like I'm going to be angry with the people or whatever, and just and hit the rock. Can you make it idiot proof? like,
Right.
like by heart, I don't want to be an idiot and not make it to the promised land. I know I'm going to
Right.
mess up somewhere along the way. This is my legit conversations. He respects it. I respect him, but that's what he wants from us is a relationship with us,
Right.
and to talk to him. Just don't ask him why. But we understand. We could ask him like, okay, so why 5 pencils? Technically, if I ask for one, but I'm just trying to
Right.
learn. I'm just not, not trying to be bitter.
Right.
But thank you. I appreciate the 5 pencils, but when I actually ask for one, but okay. But I love the fact that he's like he does this to me a lot. Um I don't have to think of something, right?
Hmm.
And for example, I had a problem with the welfare system, okay?
Right.
And me, I just give up. I was like, I don't care. You provide the money, I can go get my own food, right? But I need
Right.
help. But that's okay. I can work it out, right? I have a small stomach now. I'm good. I'll just rearrange my grocery list and figure all this out, right?
Right.
And so I put everything away, whatever. And then like many months later, he'll have somebody call me out of the blue.
Hmm.
And like, for instance, the Food Bank of America had called me.
Was it?
No, like I really didn't technically, right?
Right.
But and then he sent me a lawyer. Like she put it, like he put it in motion, and I'm like, huh. So he acts like a caseworker doing the work. And I'm like, well, I might as well just go ahead and go for it. If you're putting this in my way, like I'm just gonna do what I need to do. But
Right.
and he does that every time. He's like, well, if you're not gonna sit there and do it yourself. I was like, and my brain is stupid, not stupid, but it just is overwhelmed. I just don't
Right.
want to deal with the stupidity. like
Right.
just let me figure out my schooling at least, and all the other stuff I got to deal with. I'm medically ill, man.
Right.
I don't have time to deal with all this mess. If I can pay for it, then okay. I thank you, but come on, man. But I'll go with it.
Right.
kind of. So now it's redone. You know what I mean? It's like, well, it's that easy. You're my caseworker. I like it.
Right.
like you said, he sends people. Like
Right.
I'm all good. Like do your thing. Just and then I'll tell him, well, so you brought me to this. This is your
Right.
problem. This ain't my problem. You fix it.
Right.
And I move on to the next thing. I was like, I did not put myself in this situation.
Right.
So if I'll take accountability for my own situation that I put myself in, but you gave me the medical issues. Go for it. You take care of that. Wherever you got it, that the issue. I'm not dealing with it. I'm just gonna go do something different. Thank you. and I move on. You know what I mean? Instead of blaming him, technically, I give it right back to him.
Right.
Like, I know you gotta do what you gotta do. It's meant to
Right.
be, it's meant to be. If it's not, it's not. Whatever. Like, no. But have you ever, because I know the kidneys, that's pretty painful. Have you ever felt alone or anything like that? Like been into that? I know you have God, but I mean,
It comes again. Are you there?
were you able to hear the question?
No, I didn't hear the whole question.
I was asking, have I know we all go through it like we're human beings and
Right.
we know we got God in our life, but have you ever been in that position, medical journey or in the journey, like felt alone while you had God, you know what I mean? And
Right.
just like was like, okay, in so much pain or whatever.
Right.
And
Well, anytime you're going through like a health issue, I think you experience that, because for the whole year before they finally said it was a kidney failure, I was going to the doctor, going to the emergency room. My body was shutting down, and um, nobody believed me, the whole time. They're like, oh, he's just faking it or whatever, so people had a lot to say until they realized that I was right the entire time. So, going through that for the first year, with everybody thinking that, which I don't know how you think you're faking it. Obviously I'm in pain, you know what I mean? And obviously I
right,
can't fake my legs swelling.
okay,
So, and I remember I used to go to work, and one of my bosses, every time I walk in, he would always look surprised I was there because he was always expecting to get a call that I'd passed away. Somebody's gonna call him because I was looking bad. I mean, he every time I come in, he was like, "Oh, you're still alive." I was expecting to get a call, somebody telling me that you died over the weekend. So, but and then going through that for 2.5 years, going on dialysis and whole treatment. After, towards the end, when they keep calling you and they're like, "Oh, we have a possible kidney," and you go and it's either not a match or somebody else is in front of you and they get it. Every single time that there's a kidney, that comes up, they have like 5 or 6 people go, and then you go,
right,
hopefully this is the time, and then you get back and it's not, and then that's discouraging. Towards the end, coming off of dialysis, I would literally crawl out of my car and crawl in the bed, sleep until the next dialysis, get up and go to the dialysis. So, after a while doing that, it just really wore on me. And I was like, at one point I was just like, all right, I'm done. I can't keep doing this, so either you gotta give me a kidney
right,
or gotta do something because this isn't living anymore. I'm not, whatever it is I'm supposed to learn, I can't learn if I'm asleep or if I'm constantly in pain. And so, I had that, come to meeting, come to Jesus meeting,
yep,
and so, ironically, like a day or two later, I got a kidney. So,
nice,
you know, so I mean, I know, what it's like to come to your lowest point. And I know, and this other thing too, is God knows how much you can actually take. People you can handle more than what you think you can. But at some point, you do still have your limit. And God understands that. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying at the end of the day is that, you could handle more than what you think you can. You can't. But at some point, you do come to your limit. And God knows what your limit is. And I think, God says He would never give you more than what you can handle. But He knows where that mark is. And sometimes I think He pushes it right to the brink of that mark. But
Oh yeah, the day after. Like,
yeah. So,
oh,
but everything's in His time. So, the thing is, when I did get the kidney, it was the right kidney. A lot of people when they get kidneys, your body has to accept it. I mean, just because you got a kidney doesn't mean your body's going to accept it. Mine
right.
immediately took that kidney. It immediately took that kidney. Typically, you're in ICU for 5 days. I was in ICU for one day. The very next day I was up and walking around. And within 3 days I was out of the hospital after getting the kidney transplant because my body just immediately took to it. So when you look back at all those other kidneys that could have got, wouldn't have been the right kidney. You had to go to the right,
Wow.
So, it had to be the right one. It had to be, and God knew what the right one was. So, and then, that kidney lasted me, like I said, going on, 13 years or no, going on. So we're going on 14 years. I got the kidney transplant in 2010. It's already, 2024. So I got it in December of 2024. So we're going on, 14 years. So, and
Wow.
last 7 to 10 years. So me going 14 years, that's great.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, knowing what you know about God now and going through that journey and comparing it to like the person you were before, I don't know who you were before God,
Right.
but if you did not meet God, would you take that journey without God? Or would you want that journey with God? That's
Well,
a large
luckily,
journey.
yeah. Luckily, I grew up in church, so my parents were youth pastors. Now, as I got older, I strayed away and did my own thing, but I've always had that relationship with God. If I
Mhm.
didn't have that relationship with God going through that, I probably wouldn't have made it, honestly. You because that was, if you go through the toughest times, that's like one of the toughest times of my life is going through that whole thing. And I absolutely would not have made it without God.
So God it is. Yeah, because he's that missing link in that in anybody's journey on that end, especially those
Right,
things, those times,
right,
because it's literally like your breath is leaving you, you know, and it's just so dark in those times. And obviously we're all humans, but
right,
and even when you have God, it's still there's just that itty bitty little light right there, that crack, where you'd be like, okay, come on in, like
right,
just shine on me, please. I need that. But to have that, and probably, people probably lost their parents or whatever. They don't have a
right,
human form. They're just by themselves going through stuff like that.
right,
God really just over. It's like a huge hug.
right,
Like, that covering is nice. you,
right,
and it's like, okay, I can fall to the wall, I can be angry, but not sin. But I'm allowed to do that. And you're still going to love me through this journey.
right,
Like, and there's a whole nother life that you have, those promises that he has for us, like what was it, Jeremiah 29:11, where he's like, I know, I know the things I got for you. And then, Mark, was it, no, Mark, Matthew 6:33, and just putting him first, righteousness of God first, and then everything will fall behind it, kind of thing. And
right,
just
right,
kind of, even if you didn't know the Bible, you could still feel his presence if you really, all you have to do is accept it, like, all right, well, let's try it. you can't hurt you. That's what I said when I got baptized.
Right,
I got baptized before I knew what the Bible was. Like,
right,
I'm like, well, what can it hurt? I mean, I've had everything tragic happen to me, so
right,
why not? Like,
right,
yeah, stuff still happened, but at least I had another thing to help me, like, to fall back on.
right.
Um, eventually my pride went away. It's still working on that, but just stuff and clearing them out. That those times.
Yeah.
I know
Well,
in my time.
you're human, so and God understands that. God understands that you're going to get angry. There's times you're going to question things. Um, you know, when you're in a lot of pain about if physical pain, that
Yep.
changes your perception of things.
Oh yeah.
And so
I get
God,
very angry on that.
yeah, you got to understand that. God's not like when he's putting you through things. He knows you're going to have human emotions to it.
Yep.
So I don't think the guy's, sitting there, scolding you and getting mad at you because you're upset about something. He
Right.
understands. But at the end of the day, you got to figure out too that, you got to change your perception of how you're handling things too. Yeah. And understand that, God is in control. God's in control, and
Yep.
he's going to be the one that takes you through whatever you're going through, and you got to rely on him. And sometimes that is the whole point of going through stuff. Is
Yep.
learning how to rely on God instead of relying on yourself. We try to do that a lot as human beings. We try to rely on ourselves and think that if I just do this, if I do this, or I do that, it's not about you. And it's not about where you think is best for you, because you understand what God has planned for you. And that's why I say, I always end my show with, you're uniquely designed with a purpose. And once you realize that, once you realize that you're uniquely designed with a purpose, God has a purpose
Right.
for you. And you follow that purpose, um, things move a lot smoother in your life. I'm not saying everything's easy, because nothing's ever going to be easy. But once you
Yeah.
realize you have a purpose, and you ask, and follow that purpose that God has for you, then it just makes things easier for you to go through things. So,
Yeah. It's easy because you're in your own lane. That's
right,
the lane you were supposed to be, not in somebody else's lane, trying
right,
to take over their stuff, and yeah, like yeah, we are all created with that gift. We just need
right,
to that's where we're oil runners. That's what it was. He was pouring the oil. Was what I seen in the spirit was he was pouring the pitcher of oil, and then
right,
it went to the floor. So the oil was the gifts. And then all of our hands are like this, but
right,
we're not using our gifts because it's going on the floor. We're letting it go to the floor. Instead, it was supposed to be poured in our hands, and then we're standing next to each other, and then the flowing, you know,
right,
running, the oil's running into each other's gifts. All the gifts are helping each other around
right,
the world. So whoever's got what, he's like,
right,
don't let it go on the floor. Like whoever's meant to be is meant to be, or whatever. But yeah, even the homeless people can help because they were created with
right,
a gift.
right,
They can whatever it have. It's just a lot of people are stingy.
mm,
Like somebody,
yeah,
there's like people write a book and it's great stuff in there that could help, but
right,
instead nobody wants to buy it, because of some kind of issue or whatever. Like it's that person that they don't like or whatever. But like, no, wrote the book because that's what they were supposed to do,
right,
and could have picked it up, and that money could have helped that person in their family, or
right,
and you don't know what they're going through at least, but or they're going to take that money and help the community out or whatever it is, to be able to keep their gift flowing. We're supposed to help each other out with the gifts,
right,
and and open those things
right,
and being the best versions of ourselves that we were created to be.
right. Yeah, exactly.
That was the whole purpose of the show. like, okay, well, we'll do it. I'm not sure what I'm doing, but okay. And I like that we're on the same um path on that, you know, and you have
Right.
your end, you know, we can't reach everybody.
Right.
So like, but we can help each other
Right.
reach people kind of thing. The
Exactly.
supposed to. I'm not gonna step in your lane. I'll
Right.
learn from your lane. You know, and I know you won't step in mine. Hey, but
Right.
we're here. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's just another, yeah.
That's the other thing too, is whenever I first started, I would have other people from other podcasts, that I would invite on the show. And when I first started, everybody was focused on their own podcast. Nobody thought about going into other people's podcasts. And I told them, they're like, "You really want me on the show? I'm your competition." I'm like, "You're not a competition. If we have the same
Right.
beliefs, you have your audience that you can reach. I have my audience that I reach. Um, you know, I don't mind bringing you on and sharing your story and
Right.
sharing my audience with you and you sharing your audience with me. I mean, we have the same goal. We have, we're all working the same thing. So yeah, I've met, a lot of people from all around the world, different podcasts, and bring them on, and share. I love bringing other people in the industry, in podcasts, and talking to them and seeing how they started and what kind of things they're doing out there. So the first one I brought on was a friend of mine. Her name's Anastasia. She was from Australia. Yeah. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah. So like hey, look, we did cross promotion. Uh, she was on my show. I was on her show, and we got in front of each other's audience, and we became it became an international show at that time. This the start of the journey. So when everybody's focused on themselves and their own thing and not looking out for other people, you miss so many opportunities.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's what he was showing me with that oil. It's going to the ground, not
Right.
into the
Right.
the people's hands, you know? Yeah. That's the gatekeeping. I can't stand that. Like,
Yeah.
can't stand it. And I know a lot of people, even though, how do I say this politely, or we're not going to get canceled for nothing. Like, um, bringing people on who don't believe in God,
Right. Right.
it doesn't bother me
Right.
because God still uses that person.
Right. Right.
You know,
Yeah.
they have a story. They, on their journey, they have a story. It doesn't matter where they're at,
Right.
but
Right.
they all have a story. And some people in the church world, like, not the kingdom,
Right.
but the world, the church world, will have a problem with that because they're not full Christians or whatever it is, like, no, no,
Right.
no. You know what I mean? Like, they're still human beings too.
Right.
We show love to everybody as long as we respect, no swearing, and
Mhm.
we know that kids are going to be watching, kind of thing like that. And, and just respecting the platform,
Right.
kind of. You don't know what they're going to say, but I know God will still be in the situation and
Right.
utilize what they have to say or their gift that they have to be able to
Right.
help somebody else out in the world.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because when I first started, that's one of the things I kind of struggled with is, do I make this a faith-based show? You know what I mean? Is it all faith-based? But then I started, the more I started bringing people in, there's people that had incredible stories who weren't Christians. They weren't, and so
Right.
I didn't want to limit people, and that's the thing too. About my show is I want people to come in and be able to share their journey in their own words. I don't give them a bunch of restrictions. Like, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't. I just want to hear your story. I want to hear your story in your words.
All
And
right.
you do that, and you let people bring in. Sometimes, you have to understand who it is you're talking to.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll swear. Sometimes they'll say a couple of cuss words. And the first, when they used to do it, it used to freak me out. I used to be like, "Oh crap, they're gonna cancel me because somebody said this, this word or whatever." You know what I mean? And then nothing happened. And I was like, "Okay, so it's all right." They're not going to cancel you just because somebody says something. But the what I started learning from it is that when people come in and they're able to be themselves and share their journey, they open up more because there's no restrictions. They're like, "Oh, I can't say this because if I say this, it's going to offend somebody. If I do this," they come in and they share their story, and I think that our platform has grown so much because of that. And I don't limit it to, obviously I'm a Christian and my people,
Right.
my audience know that. They know where my stance is on that. I never hide from my faith. And we'll talk about it too. I'll talk about it with anybody, but
Right.
I let people come in and share their story. And I think that by doing that, we've grabbed a larger audience. And then when we do have people who come in and share their story and they are Christians and they share how God changed their lives, it opens up to the people who's not Christians, that follow the show. And then, that opens them up too with, oh, maybe Christians aren't, all judgmental and they're not all this, or, and it kind of gives them a different perspective. Um, so, and here, people like, Brett Favre will come in, or Cameron Arnett, these guys are just great men of God, and they come in, they'll share their story. T.C. Stallings, I don't know if you saw the movie War Room.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, T.C. Stallings, the guy who played Priscilla Shiver's husband, who was cheating on her. Um, you
Oh,
know,
you got him on the show?
yeah, T.C.
Wow.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
uh, he's in the show Vindication. Uh,
Okay.
but yeah, so he's been on and he's bold, come out and is quick to share his faith, and it's good, to have the kind of the mix because the people who are struggling, there's a lot of people that come on the show that's gone through things, that they're struggling, and they can hear other guests and then get inspired and maybe sometimes that's the only time that they'll hear the word, is from other people coming in and sharing their journey. So I think we close again. Okay, cool.
You gotta go back because it was good stuff right there. Hearing you went frozen. So having the peoples on the shows and hearing from others, s- wherever.
Yeah, hearing from others. So you never know what somebody else is going through.
Right.
A non-believer, and so if they're watching the show and they see, they get to see these power slap guys, they love this, and then they get to see somebody like, TZ Stallings, and hear his testimony, you know, that may be the only time they actually hear somebody sharing the word, or
Yeah.
sharing God's message, or, and it inspires them. So, I mean, you never know. So that's why I try not to limit my show, and I let people come in and and share their journeys because I know that they'll follow the show, and then when I have people on who does are followers, um, the people who aren't are more open to it because they know how my platform is. They know
Yeah.
that the way we operate, and it's not judgmental. It's not because you're not a Christian, you can't do this, and you can't be here, you can't do
Right.
I don't get all that. You know, everybody is in a certain place in their journey, and not everybody's at the same. Some people haven't got to the point where they've turned their life to God, or even know who God is. So you guys still give grace to those people, and
Absolutely.
this might be the only place that they hear that message, And when you bring people in who does believe that, who's been through things that these guys might be going through, and they can share it and say how the God's brought them through. So, I mean, that's all I anyways.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. The only reason why I do it is because I know kids watch and I
Yeah,
wanted to kind of limit what the kids kind of, I mean, I want the kids to hear everything,
right.
but like the swear words are kind of, diet down.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't have to say the F word like every other word kind of thing.
Right, right, right.
Do, do. Yeah,
Uh,
back on Frozen. But yeah, just the respectful, you know what I mean? Just for
right,
it's
right.
a show for everybody,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
most people that when they know that about you, they kind of turn it back anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got a few people out there that that don't have filters. You know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah.
that don't have filters. But yeah, and normally I'll put some kind of warning if it's going to be that way before somebody watches the show. But most of the time, people know kind of what the etiquette is of of the
Right.
podcast. So
Yeah, absolutely. I
yeah,
mean, it's still on a good wavelength there. Like,
right,
yeah, like everybody needs to hear whatever. Some people, they might not talk to people, they're introverts or whatever, and it might actually help somebody um stay alive.
right,
And they won't tell anybody, at all. So
yeah,
they're just silently. So, we're speaking to the silent ones, we're speaking to the ones who are so loud, the ones who are not, like, or just kind of everybody. Yeah. And like, oh yeah, like every type of group, I might
yeah,
have somebody who's autistic and going through, and
right.
somebody may need to hear that. I mean, you don't have to watch.
Uh,
Do, 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 do. You went for it. Oh,
yeah, I think. Oh,
okay, that was weird.
yeah,
Um, yeah, it was, that's just, there's something for everybody.
right,
They don't have to watch the other shows if they don't want to. It's not, and they don't have to troll either, saying
right,
or not that they're watching. Oh, so it's not for me, blah, blah, blah. Well, then don't watch it. Like, just
right,
the other one may be for you. Go for that one.
right.
Like saying that respectfully, y'all. But I mean, because I don't have to watch horror.
You miss out too. You miss out.
Yeah,
When you get so judgmental about things and you don't understand people's journeys, you miss out on some great stories. Like this guy right here, Larry Hankins. Um, this guy,
oh, I love him.
Larry has been in 206 films. His first
Right.
film with Clint Eastwood. He was in Seinfeld and Friends and Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, and he's been in all kinds of stuff. So, but this guy has some incredible stories. This is why I bought his book. Incredible stories. But it's not something that Christians would be like, oh, that's a yeah, yeah. Most Christians would probably read his book and be offended. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
he's got great stories. This guy's been around forever. He's been in the industry. He's worked with some of the top, actors. And if you're somebody that's interested in film and the behind the scenes stuff, and I mean, that's the guy. That's the guy. He's been through it.
Right. Yeah, because he was on mine too, and he was talking about Lucille Ball, and
Yeah,
I was saying, oh yeah, she was a diva.
yeah.
At the end of her.
So
I
if
was
you
like, what? No, wait a minute.
I love having him on the show because he's got these just incredible stories, you know, and
Yeah,
and you miss out when you start getting so mental about things, and you know, you just miss out. You miss out on you know some of the incredible you know stories that other people have. Stop
right,
looking for reasons to get offended.
right. And going
Yeah,
back on that
yeah,
generation when we were talking about the generations missing out these
yeah,
days. I'm gonna go on this one, and I couldn't help but think way back when ago when I was dealing with I was talking to Larry too.
right,
He's an elder.
yeah,
The nuggets that the elders, because they're all dying,
right,
you know what I mean? And those little nuggets that they have
right,
are dying with them. And I wanted to be able to record their nuggets, what they got.
right,
Like what is your thing that you could give to the world that could stay forever? You
right,
know, what you learned in your life journey, all the stuff that these kids will never understand. They may have not have gone through like and seeing all those movies from that person,
right,
but looking at them as an elder, oh, maybe this would
right.
help, and stuff like that. And just even relaxing. Like he talked about the earthquake. No, earthquake. Was it the earthquake? Well, he gave me a story. Was it the earthquake? Yeah, it was an earthquake that he dealt with, and stuff like how he did it and all that stuff. He's like, I've never told anybody this, but he got to
Right,
speak on that. I was like,
right,
oh, wow, I feel, honored to get that story,
right,
but him speaking on that, I was just looking at him as like a grandpa, like sitting
right,
down and talking to a grandpa, I'm not saying he's in an old folks home, but, just going to see a family
right,
member in the old folks home, just sitting and talking.
right,
And I learned that like being with my patients,
right,
you know, because they all had medical issues and whatnots, and some of them didn't have families, but you never knew their history until and like some of the nurses and CNAs, they don't sit there and talk to the people. There's this, and they don't sit there and be like, hey, let's, what was your life like, or treating them with respect.
right,
Lady, she passed away, but she dealt with like I made her some coffee, and I didn't know her history. She was kind of new to me. Okay. So I was in a different spot. Um, but either way, just giving her a simple coffee. She used to be uh something up here in Alaska
mm,
and all that stuff. And she goes, this is service right here, and I was like, wait a minute, what? I'm just giving you coffee. But customer service really does help knowing the customer, like what
right,
they order all the time. You know what I mean? And learning who
right,
they are and just giving that grace and mercy and gratitude and just treating them like a human being with dignity and respect.
right.
It goes a long way.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
just that
Yeah,
little bit. And this new generation needs to learn that.
right.
They're not getting it. They're trying to cancel all that, like,
Yeah,
and put this really weird idea. I'm like, no, you're not going to get us to figure that out. No,
right.
but like we try to
And
treat humans with respect.
yeah, they miss out too. They just you know, and the other thing too with this generation, they want everything instantly. They want everything instantly. Yeah, and
Microwave.
they have such a short attention span. You know,
Mm.
and sometimes they want to watch these 30-second clips on TikTok and flip through these these quick videos. They don't sit there and take time to watch shows like mine that's maybe 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes longer depending on what the person's journey is,
Hmm.
and listening and getting to know that person's story and learning, because by hearing it you could be they could teach you things, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
but you're not going to see in a 30-second TikTok video.
You just give that little tidbit. That's what the snippet.
Yeah,
Like,
so
oh, get the attention.
yes, a lot of the younger people are like, oh, the shows are too long, they're too long. If you listen to the show, sit down 5 minutes, and listen to a show and listen to what people are saying, you might learn something that you could take
Absolutely.
in and carry in the rest of your life, other than somebody doing some stupid dance or a prank on TikTok. That's not going to
It,
do anything for you.
exactly. Well, you know, I did notice, like, I did notice, I'm still trying to figure out this algorithm thing because I was like,
Yeah.
I don't understand how a stupid dance can make a person so much money and get so many views versus the video that actually makes sense
Yeah.
on learning or whatever. But even in the algorithm, the AI and all that stuff kicks out certain words. Like with TikTok, if you're on live, you cannot say TikTok for so many times. They
Mm.
literally like ban you, and I'm like, what the, so different things. You
But
cannot say this. I'm just gonna say it. I don't care at this point. Suicide.
yeah.
You got to say unalived, and I'm like, what? Now we have to, flip around like, okay, but I don't understand that. Like, you got a
Yeah.
lot of good stuff going on, but then you want them stupid dances, but they make the money. We're like,
Yeah.
it's not about the money, but still,
Right.
millions of people like the thing. And I'm like, okay, so what is this? Now we got to revert back to being stupid just to get somebody's attention to get onto your page. In order to get, to that video, it'll some day get into their head,
Yeah.
hopefully, like kind of thing.
I've
This
given up
stuff.
on the algorithm. I've learned the thing that I've learned about the algorithm is the system is set up to keep us fighting one another. So
Yeah.
anything that's going to be negative or it's going to be controversial, if you and I were arguing, this thing would blow up. You know what I mean? If we were
That's
sitting there arguing for an hour, people would watch it. But the fact that we have a common goal and we're trying to inspire people, they put that low in the algorithm because they don't want people coming together. Because the one thing that the government is afraid of is unity. That's the big,
absolutely.
that's the biggest thing there. If everybody would unite together and understand that, like I said, that we have more in common as a human race than what separates us. So if you come with that simple knowledge and
Yep.
start coming together, the government wants all this crap they're doing. They know it. So what they want to do is keep feeding negative, negative, negative. Go fight this person, go argue with this person, go cancel this person. They want that division. It's purpose. It's purpose. Yeah, they're purposely trying to push that, agenda. So anyway, it's that's why I don't worry about the algorithm. I don't, my show's going to do what it's doing. It's growing on its own. And I know that the people who watch my show genuinely like the show and like what we're doing. And I'd rather have, you know, 1,000 people.
Yeah. You just
Yeah,
sit.
I would rather have 1,000 people who are getting something from my show. I'd rather have 50 people who's actually getting something from my show than have 1 million people who's getting nothing because I'm doing something stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I don't agree. We put it up and let it do its thing.
yeah,
Who's meant to be on that one is meant to be.
right.
You know, some have 0 views, or some have 1 view, some have 15 views or 1,000. Yeah, it's like it all depends. Like, it
So,
doesn't bother me. It's just I'm like, but I still think about it. Like, what? I'm just observant. Like, I
yeah.
need the answer. Like, what is the okay? Like, I
Well,
just don't.
that's how you know you're doing something right because if it's not going through the algorithm, it means that you're not pushing their agenda. You know what I mean? So I look at it as a win. Look at the win.
I
You
never
know
thought
what I mean?
about it. Like,
That's a win. I'm
yeah.
not pushing your agenda. I'm not going to sit here and lower my standards and fight with people just so that you can maintain power.
Right.
Yeah,
It-
that's not what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go keep encouraging people and inspiring people to do, to find their purpose and to unite together. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yep.
And if you
exactly.
hide me in the algorithm, hide me in the algorithm. I don't care.
E- Exactly. Exactly. It's the world is a mess.
Right.
We're just trying to put a message in the mess, man. Like
So,
just to be a little blip on the world.
right,
But he did say if you got faith as small as a mustard seed, just the grain.
right,
And that inside that mustard seed, I mean, it's a whole field of,
right.
so we don't know what seed is gonna, we just throw out the seeds and see where it's gonna land. Because
So,
he will do the rest.
when you think about it, though, like, like I said, I've been doing this for going on 4 years, you know, even though I don't have the millions of views, I know my stuff is being reached around the world, interviewing people in Holland and in South Africa and in Australia and the UK, I know it's going around the world. And so I know people who normally wouldn't watch my show are starting to see the show, so Gus has a plan for it. And the people who got a
Yeah.
chance to see the show is going to see the show. I mean, and then, like I said, I'm doing the show, writing the series for Redemption. And, I already have my cast ready, and I met
Right.
every last one of them through this, so.
Yeah, just by sitting in your room.
Right.
Like,
So
oh, okay.
to me,
This'll
it's a
work.
win. It's a win. I'm good.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're on your path.
Right.
No, I'm on my path. And I mean, it's kind of almost the same in a way,
Right.
but we're just on different yeah, it's God, it just amazes me on how he works like that though.
Right.
Like I'm just like, okay, all I do is go out, do photography, go do my class and go up in the mountains, go talk to him. I understand like you know, with that whole being on the mountain, everything like that. And I was like, oh, that makes more sense on why they all wanted to go up on the mountain.
Right.
I mean, everything, the atmosphere changes. But yeah, but well, we're gonna definitely want to invite you back whenever you feel
Cool.
like it. It's up to you.
Awesome. I got
Um,
you on the show too. I can bring you over to our show and
I'm
come ahead
I'm
and
all
shoot you.
about it. I'm all about it. Like, yeah, just let
Cool.
me know when you have open and I'll look at my schedule.
All right, cool. Well, I appreciate you taking time out and having me on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we'll just do one more time all your links to where we can get a hold of you and whatever else.
Um, on Facebook, you can find me under Parks McGregor. That's just my regular Facebook, and then did I freeze again? I think it froze. Maybe.
On Facebook. You
Okay.
you ended with Parks McGregor.
Yeah, so on Facebook, you can find me as Parks
You
McGregor.
went
It's my regular. And then on YouTube, you can find me as Crossman Product. Just look for this symbol. And then Instagram and TikTok, it's
okay.
Crossman Productions.
Okay. So all of it's Crossman because you went frozen.
Yeah.
So all of it's Crossman Productions, TikTok, YouTube, and then Parks McGregor on Facebook, right?
Right. And then I'm also on Rumble too. So
Oh,
you can see some of the stuff on Rumble so as well. But yeah,
okay.
it's all of them.
Okay. I thank you for coming on the show. And I loved hearing your story, honestly. And definitely uh anything you need help with, let me know. Like
Awesome. I appreciate it.
right there, I'm right there with the vision with you.
Cool.
um and so thank you. Thank you. And I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Um And definitely, I hope you guys got something out of it. And please don't do the 30-second watch because the ending's the better. I mean, it was all good, but you know, you got to get to the ending because it was deep. So, so yep.
I want to put this, what I always say to everybody. You are uniquely designed with a purpose, and always keep moving forward.
Absolutely. Amen. Amen. Well, thank you. And definitely God bless you on your journey for sure.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate